I used to think I had it all figured out. Me, Olivia, the queen of my own little kingdom in Seattle. A gorgeous husband, Ethan, who turned heads with his architect's charm and that smile that could light up a room. A career organizing high-end events that kept me buzzing from one deadline to the next. A sleek house in Capitol Hill, all glass and modern edges, the kind people gawk at in magazines. 5 years of marriage, and I thought we were untouchable, like some fortress nobody could crack. God, I was smug. I'd strut around thinking, look at me, living the dream. But life's got a way of slapping you awake. And when it does, it stings like hell. I'm gonna tell you how I screwed it all up. How I let my own stupidity and a snake named Chloe tear my world apart. Buckle up, because this story's bitter, and I'm not holding back. Back when I thought I was on top, life felt like a well-rehearsed script. Ethan and I met in college back when he was this scrappy guy with a sketchbook, always doodling buildings that looked like they belonged in a sci-fi flick. He'd tease me about my obsession with color-coded planners, and I'd laugh until my sides hurt. That's what hooked me, his ability to make me forget the world for a minute. Fast forward to our marriage, and things shifted. Work swallowed us whole. I'd be up at dawn, juggling client calls and venue bookings, while Ethan burned the midnight oil on blueprints for some fancy high-rise. We'd cross paths at night, half dead from exhaustion, mumbling a few words before crashing. "Love you," he'd say, kissing my forehead. I'd nod, already half asleep. That was our routine, and I told myself it was fine. Normal, even. Who has time for romance when you're building an empire, right? But there were cracks, tiny ones I didn't see, or didn't want to. Ethan started staying out later, blaming client dinners. I'd shrug it off, too buried in my own chaos to care. We weren't fighting, but we weren't really talking either, just existing. And then there was Chloe, my little sister, the one I thought I knew inside out. She was my shadow, always had been. Growing up, I'd braid her hair, sneak her snacks when Mom wasn't looking. When she followed me into event planning and joined my company, I was thrilled. My mini-me, I'd joke. She'd come over to our place all the time, sprawled on our couch like she owned it, sipping wine and gossiping about work. But looking back, I see the signs I missed. The way she'd linger around Ethan, wearing those tight little dresses that screamed for attention. One night, I caught her twirling her hair, laughing at some dumb joke he made, her eyes all sparkly. "Chloe, chill," I teased, thinking she was just being her flirty self. She grinned, but there was something sharp in it, like a blade hidden in silk. I brushed it off. My sister, my ally. Why would I suspect her? God, I was blind. Chloe had this way of planting seeds, little comments that seemed harmless but stuck like burrs. "Hey, Liv," she'd say, all casual. "Ethan's been out late a lot. You sure he's just working?" I'd roll my eyes. "He's fine, Chloe, don't stir up drama." But she'd keep going, her voice all sugary concern. "I'm just saying, I saw him at some bar downtown last week. Looked cozy with some client." My stomach would twist, but I'd shove it down. Ethan? Cheating? No way. He was the guy who'd spent hours building me a custom desk for my office, who still left sticky notes with dumb doodles in my lunch bag. I trusted him, or at least I thought I did. Chloe's words were like pebbles in my shoe. Small, but they started to hurt the longer I walked. Our house didn't help. It was too perfect. All sharp lines and polished floors, like a stage set for a life we weren't really living. I'd come home from a 12-hour day, heels clicking on the hardwood, and find Ethan sketching at the kitchen island, his tie loose. "Hey," I'd say, grabbing a glass of wine. "Hey," he'd reply, barely looking up. That was our big conversation. Sometimes Chloe would be there, curled up with her laptop, throwing out ideas for our next event. "Liv, you're killing it," she'd say, all smiles. I'd beam, soaking it up. My sister, my cheerleader. But now I see her game. She'd lean a little too close to Ethan when she showed him her phone, her laugh a little too loud. I'd tell myself it was nothing, just Chloe being Chloe. Flirty, fun, harmless. Except it wasn't. She was circling, waiting for her moment, and I was too busy playing the perfect wife to notice. I keep replaying those days, looking for the moment I could have stopped it. Maybe if I'd asked Ethan about those late nights instead of assuming he was just busy. Maybe if I'd called Chloe out when she got too cozy. But I didn't. I was too caught up in my own world, thinking I had it all under control. My marriage, my career, my life, it was all supposed to be bulletproof. I'd laugh at friends who fretted over their husbands, thinking, that'll never be me. I was Olivia, the woman who had her shit together. Except I didn't. I was standing on a glass floor and it was already cracking. Chloe saw it before I did. She knew exactly where to step to make it shatter. Now, sitting here with nothing but regrets and a half-empty coffee mug, I can't help but laugh at myself. Not a happy laugh, mind you, just the kind that burns your throat. I was so sure I was untouchable, so convinced I'd built something nobody could break. But it was all a house of cards, and I was the idiot who didn't see the wind coming. Chloe was the gust, sure, but I'm the one who let her blow through. I thought I was smart, but I was dumber than a bag of hammers. And the worst part? I didn't just lose Ethan. I lost myself, too. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to the start of the end, when I still thought I could fix it all. I thought I knew what pain was. Pulling all-nighters for a client who'd changed their mind at the last second, or the time I sprained my ankle running to catch a ferry. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for the night my world started to crumble. It was like someone took a sledgehammer to my chest and kept swinging. I'm Olivia, and this is the part where I tell you how I let Chloe's lies and my own paranoia light a match to my marriage. Buckle up, because this one's gonna leave a mark. It was a Thursday, one of those Seattle evenings where the rain's more mist than downpour, clinging to your skin like bad news. I'd just wrapped a brutal day at work, some tech bros product launch that had me screaming into my headset at caterers who couldn't find the venue. I was beat, barely human, slumped on the couch with a glass of Pinot when Chloe showed up. She didn't knock, just waltzed in like she owned the place, her heels clicking like a countdown. "Liv, you okay?" she asked, her voice all syrupy concern. I mumbled something about work, but she wasn't here for small talk. She sat down too close and pulled a stack of papers from her bag. "You need to see this," she said, her eyes wide, like she was delivering a death sentence. I took the papers, my hands already shaky. Hotel receipts from some swanky place downtown, bills from a French restaurant I'd never been to, and here's the kicker, a receipt for a bracelet, some delicate gold thing I'd never seen. All charged to Ethan's card, dated on nights he'd told me he was meeting clients. My stomach dropped like I'd missed a step in the dark. "Where'd you get these?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Chloe sighed, all dramatic. "I found them in his office when I was dropping off some files." "Liv, there's more." She leaned in, her perfume choking me. "I saw him last week at that coffee shop on Pike. He was with some girl, all cozy, laughing. I didn't want to say anything, but I think it was Sophia, that coworker he's always mentioning." Sophia. The name hit like a slap. Ethan's colleague, some young architect with a pixie cut and a knack for brilliant designs, according to him. I'd met her once at a company party, all smiles and confidence, the kind of woman who made you feel like you were fading into the wallpaper. My mind raced, piecing together every late night, every vague excuse. Was this why he'd been distant? Was he slipping away with her, laughing behind my back? My hands were trembling now, the papers crinkling in my grip. "He's cheating," I said, more to myself than Chloe. It wasn't a question. It was a knife, and it was already in my heart. Chloe didn't miss a beat. She slid closer, her arm around me like we were kids again. "I'm so sorry, Liv. You don't deserve this." But there was something off, a flicker in her eyes I didn't catch then. I was too busy drowning in my own head, picturing Ethan with Sophia, their hands brushing over coffee, her wearing that damn bracelet. Chloe kept talking, her voice soft but relentless. "I've been worried for a while. He's been so secretive. I couldn't keep it from you." I barely heard her. My eyes were locked on those receipts, each one a betrayal, each day to night I'd sat alone, thinking he was working. I wanted to scream, to throw something, but all I could do was sit there, my chest tight, my world tilting. Then I saw it. Chloe's phone, half hidden under her purse, lighting up with a text. She grabbed it quick, but not before I caught Ethan's name on the screen. "What's that?" I snapped, my voice sharper than I meant. She flinched, tucking the phone away. "Nothing, just work stuff," she said too fast. But I was already spiraling. Later, I'd find out she was texting him, playing the concerned sister-in-law. "Ank okay?" "Liv's pissed," she'd written, like she was on his side. That little snake stirring the pot while pretending to hold my hand. I didn't know it then, but she was pouring gasoline on a fire she'd started. When Ethan got home, I was a ticking bomb. He walked in, all smiles, loosening his tie like it was just another night. "Hey, babe," he said, dropping his keys on the counter. I didn't answer. I just stood there, the receipts clutched in my hand like a weapon. "What's this?" I asked, throwing them at him. They scattered across the floor, and his face went pale. "Liv, what the hell?" he said, bending to pick them up. He scanned the papers, his brow furrowing. These aren't mine. Where'd you get these?" His voice was shaky, but I wasn't buying it. "Don't lie to me," I screamed, my throat raw. "Hotels, dinners, a bracelet, and Sophia? I know about her, Ethan." Chloe was there, hovering in the background, her face all fake concern. "Liv, calm down," she said, but then she turned to Ethan. "I told her, Ethan. I saw you with that girl. You can't keep lying." I swear I could have strangled her right then, but I was too focused on him. Ethan looked like he'd been punched. "Liv, I swear this is a mistake. Someone's setting me up. Sophia's just a coworker. I cut him off, my voice breaking. Get out of my house." I was crying now, hot tears streaming down my face, my whole body shaking. He tried to step closer, but I shoved him back. "I said get out." He left, his shoulders slumped, and I collapsed onto the couch, sobbing like my heart had been ripped out. Chloe sat beside me, stroking my hair, whispering, "You did the right thing." But I wasn't so sure. My head was a mess, torn between rage and doubt. Was he really cheating, or was I losing my mind? All I knew was that those receipts felt like proof, and Chloe's words were the nails in his coffin. I was too blind to see she was the one holding the hammer. Now, looking back, I want to slap myself. I was so quick to believe the worst, so ready to throw Ethan to the wolves. Chloe played me like a damn fiddle, and I let her. I thought I was protecting myself, but I was just digging my own grave. Those receipts? Fake. That bracelet? Never existed. And Sophia? Just a coworker who happened to grab coffee with him once. But I didn't know that then. All I had was my anger, my hurt, and a sister who knew exactly how to twist the knife. I was a fool, dumber than a box of rocks, and I was about to make things a whole lot worse. I'm Olivia, and if you think life can't get uglier than catching your husband cheating, stick around. This is the part where I tell you how I took a wrecking ball to my marriage, swung it with all my might, and ended up buried in the rubble. After that night with the receipts, I didn't just lose Ethan, I lost myself. I turned into this bitter, broken thing, leaning on Chloe like she was my lifeline, when really, she was the one tying the noose. I was so busy playing the victim, I didn't see how I was torching everything that mattered. Here's how it went down, and trust me, it's as pathetic as it sounds. The days after I kicked Ethan out were a blur, like living in a fog that wouldn't lift. Our house, that perfect glass and steel shrine, felt like a tomb. I'd wander from room to room, clutching a bottle of wine, staring at Ethan's stuff, his sketchbooks, his coffee mug, the stupid tie he wore to our anniversary dinner. Every piece of him was a punch to the gut. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Work? Forget it. I canceled meetings, ignored emails, let my assistant handle the chaos. All I could do was cry, scream, or sit there, numb, wondering how I'd been so stupid. 5 years of marriage, and I thought we were solid. Now I was alone, and it was his fault. At least, that's what I told myself. Chloe was there every step of the way, playing the doting sister like she deserved an Oscar. She'd show up with takeout, sit on my couch, and let me rant. "You're better off without him, Liv," she'd say, her voice all soft and soothing. "He didn't deserve you." I'd nod, soaking it up, because I needed someone to tell me I wasn't the idiot here. She'd pour me another glass, pat my hand, and say things like, I always thought he was shady. Remember how he'd dodge questions about his late nights? She'd toss in little stories too. How she'd heard Ethan flirting with some woman at a bar, or how he'd been weirdly secretive at a work event. Every word was a shovel, digging me deeper into my own misery. I ate it up because hating Ethan was easier than facing the hole in my chest. But I wasn't just wallowing, I was out for blood. I was so pissed, so humiliated, that I wanted the world to know what a bastard he was. So, like a complete moron, I took to social media. I posted a long, ugly status, spilling everything. The receipts, the affair with Sophia, how Ethan had betrayed me. Some men don't deserve the women who love them, I wrote, my fingers shaking as I hit post. My friends ate it up, flooding the comments with heart emojis and, "You're so strong, Liv." A few even shared it, turning Ethan into the town's favorite villain. I felt powerful for about 5 minutes, like I'd reclaimed something. Then the high wore off, and I was just a woman crying into her phone, watching her life implode. Now I'd give anything to take it back. I didn't just hurt Ethan. I made him a pariah, and for what? A lie I was too blind to question. Ethan didn't go quietly. He tried to reach me, and God, I wish I'd listened. He sent emails, long ones, explaining the receipts were fake, that Sophia was just a friend, that someone had set him up. He attached bank statements, screenshots, proof I refused to look at. "Liv, please, just talk to me," he wrote. I deleted everyone, blocked his number, blocked his email. When he showed up at the house, I slammed the door in his face. "Go to hell!" I screamed through the wood. He even got our mutual friend, Jake, to call me. "Liv, he's a mess," Jake said. "He swears it's not true. Just hear him out." But I was too far gone, too wrapped up in my own story. "He's a liar!" I snapped, hanging up. In my head, Ethan was the enemy, and I was the martyr. What a crock. Chloe kept fanning the flames. She'd sit there, nodding as I raged, saying, "You're doing the right thing, Liv. You can't let him hurt you anymore." She'd hug me, her perfume smothering, and I'd feel this twisted gratitude, like she was the only one who got it. She'd even throw in new evidence, a suspicious text she'd seen on Ethan's phone, or a rumor about him and Sophia at some conference. I never asked how she knew this stuff. I just believed her, because she was my sister, my rock. I was so busy hating Ethan, I didn't see the venom in her smile. The divorce was like ripping off a bandage soaked in salt. I hired a lawyer, some shark in a suit who promised to make Ethan pay. We filed fast, no mediation, no second chances. I didn't want to see him, didn't want to hear his voice. I just wanted him gone, erased from my life like a bad dream. The papers were signed in a haze of anger and wine. I kept telling myself I was strong, that I was taking control. But I wasn't. I was a mess, clinging to Chloe's lies and my own pride, thinking I was winning when I was losing everything. Looking back, I want to grab myself by the shoulders and scream, "Wake up!" I was so quick to burn it all down, so eager to play the wronged wife. I didn't just push Ethan away, I slandered him, humiliated him, made sure he had no way back. And for what? A stack of fake receipts and a sister who played me like a pawn. I thought I was protecting myself, but I was just handing Chloe the matches. I was the fool, the one who turned a crack into a canyon. And the worst part? I was about to find out just how deep that canyon went. I'm Olivia, and this is where the story gets uglier than a Seattle alley in the rain. By now, you know I'm not the hero of this tale, just a woman who thought she had it all, only to watch it burn. After the divorce, I was a shell, dragging myself through days that felt like years. I thought Ethan was the snake who ruined me, but I was wrong. The real venom came from someone I trusted with my whole heart, my sister, Chloe. This is the part where the truth hit me like a freight train, and I realized I wasn't just a victim. I was the idiot who handed her the keys to my life. Here's how it went down, and trust me, it's a bitter pill to swallow. A year after the divorce, I was still a wreck. The house was too big, too quiet, a constant reminder of what I'd lost. Work was a lifeline, but even that felt hollow. Every event I planned was just a distraction from the hole in my chest. I'd stopped posting my rants online, mostly because I was too tired to care what people thought. Friends tried to cheer me up, dragging me to bars or sending me self-help books, but nothing stuck. I was stuck, replaying that night with the receipts, wondering where it all went wrong. Chloe was still around, of course, playing the loyal sister. She'd drop by with coffee, help with work, act like she was my anchor. "You're so strong, Liv," she'd say, her eyes all soft. I bought it every time. God, I was dumb. Then came the night that changed everything. It was late, maybe 2 a.m., and Chloe was over, crashing on my couch after some work event we'd both been at. We'd polished off a bottle of wine. Okay, maybe two. And she was slurring, giggling about some client who'd spilled champagne on her dress. I was half listening, staring at the ceiling, when she got quiet, too quiet. I looked over, and she was crying, her mascara streaking like black rivers. "Liv, I gotta tell you something," she said, her voice breaking. My stomach twisted. I sat up, suddenly sober. "What?" I asked, my heart already racing. And then, like a dam bursting, it all came out. Chloe confessed everything. The receipts? She faked them, using her access at our company to pull Ethan's card info and forge the charges. The restaurant, the hotel, the bracelet, none of it was real. The coffee shop story with Sophia? A lie she cooked up after seeing Ethan there with a group, twisting it to make him look guilty. She'd been in love with him for years, she said, ever since I brought him home to meet the family. She thought if she could break us up, she'd have a shot. I wanted him, Liv, she sobbed, her hands covering her face. I thought he'd see me, if you were gone. I stared at her, my brain struggling to catch up. My sister, my blood, had orchestrated this whole nightmare because she wanted my husband. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. My ears were ringing, my hands cold as ice. "You did this?" I whispered, my voice shaking. She nodded, still crying, but I wasn't buying the tears anymore. Rage boiled up, hot and sharp, and before I knew it, I was on my feet, grabbing her by the hair. "You're my sister!" I screamed, yanking her up. "You stabbed me in the back. You wanted to steal my husband, you snake. Are you happy now? You ruined my life." She stumbled, clutching at my wrists, her sobs louder. "I'm sorry, Liv. I didn't mean—" I cut her off, shoving her toward the door. "Get out! I never want to see you again." I threw her purse after her, slammed the door, and sank to the floor, my whole body trembling. I sat there for hours, the truth clawing at me. Chloe wasn't just a liar. She was a mastermind, playing me like a puppet. She'd used our work, her access to Ethan's schedule, to build a lie so convincing I didn't even question it. Those texts I'd glimpsed, the ones she sent Ethan, they weren't concern, they were bait. Her way of keeping him off balance while she fed me poison. And I'd swallowed it all, hook, line, and sinker. I'd kicked Ethan out, trashed him online, divorced him, all because I trusted her. My sister. The one person I thought would never hurt me. But the worst part wasn't Chloe's betrayal, it was my own. I replayed every moment, every chance I'd had to listen to Ethan. His emails, his pleas, the proof I'd ignored. I could have stopped it. I could have trusted him, given him a chance to explain. Instead, I let my pride, my jealousy, my stupid need to be right destroy everything. I wasn't just a victim. I was the architect of my own misery. I'd taken a sledgehammer to my marriage, and Chloe just handed me the tools. I hated her. God, I hated her. But I hated myself more. I'd had it all, a husband who loved me, a life most people dream of. And I'd thrown it away because I was too stubborn to see the truth. By morning, I was numb. I didn't cry anymore. There were no tears left. I just sat there, staring at the wall, the weight of it all crushing me. Chloe was gone, out of my life for good, but that didn't fix anything. The damage was done. Ethan was gone, my marriage was ashes, and I was left with nothing but regret. I'd thought I was the wronged one, the betrayed wife, but I was the fool who dug her own grave. And the worst part? I still had to face the fallout, knowing I'd brought it all on myself. I'm Olivia, and this is the end of my story, or at least the end of the part where I thought I could salvage something from the wreckage I made. After Chloe's confession, I was left picking up the pieces of a life I'd shattered with my own hands. I'd lost Ethan, my marriage, my sister, and worst of all, my sense of who I was. I wanted to believe I could fix it, that I could claw my way back to some kind of redemption. But life doesn't work like that. This is the part where I tell you about the price I paid, the lessons I learned, and the hollowness of regret when it comes too late. It's not pretty, but it's real. The weeks after I kicked Chloe out were a fog of guilt and desperation. I couldn't stop thinking about Ethan, his face when I threw those fake receipts at him, the way his voice cracked when he begged me to listen. I'd been so sure he was the villain, so ready to burn him to the ground. Now, knowing the truth, I couldn't live with myself. I had to try to make it right, even if it was just to ease the ache in my chest. So I started small. I texted him, my fingers shaking as I typed, "Ethan, I'm so sorry. I know now it was all a lie. Can we talk?" No reply. I called, left voicemails that sounded more like please. "Please just hear me out. I was wrong." Nothing. I emailed, pouring my heart out, admitting I'd been a fool, that Chloe had played me, that I should have trusted him. Silence. Each unanswered message was a nail in the coffin of my hope. Then I saw it, a photo on a mutual friend's social media. Ethan, smiling, his arm around Sophia. The caption read, "Congrats to the happy couple." My heart stopped. They were engaged. Sophia, the woman I'd vilified, the one I'd accused of stealing my husband, was now his fiancée. She wasn't the other woman Chloe had painted her to be. She was just a colleague, a friend who'd been there for him when I wasn't. The irony was a knife in my gut. I'd pushed him away, slandered him, and now he'd found happiness with someone who believed in him. I sat there, staring at my phone, feeling like a ghost in my own life. They looked so content. And me? I was nothing but a regret, clinging to a past I'd destroyed. I couldn't let it end like that. I needed closure, even if it meant facing his rejection. A month before his wedding, I tracked him down to a coffee shop in Belltown, the same one Chloe had lied about. I stood outside for 10 minutes, my hands sweaty, my stomach in knots. When I finally walked in, there he was, sketching on a napkin like he used to. My heart ached at the sight. God, I'd missed him. "Ethan," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. He looked up, and for a second, I saw the old warmth in his eyes. Then it was gone, replaced by something colder, harder. "Liv," he said, setting his pen down. "What do you want?" I didn't beg, didn't cry. I just sat across from him and told the truth. "I was wrong," I said, my voice steady despite the lump in my throat. "Chloe lied. The receipt, Sophia, all of it, it was fake. I should have trusted you, but I didn't. I'm sorry, Ethan. Not just for believing her, but for everything. The divorce, the posts, the way I hurt you." I slid my wedding ring across the table, the one I'd kept in my drawer like a wound I couldn't close. "I don't expect you to forgive me. I just needed you to know." He looked at the ring, then at me, his jaw tight. "I forgive you," he said, his voice low. "But I can't forget." He stood, leaving the ring on the table. "Take care, Liv." And then he was gone, out the door, back to a life that didn't include me. I sat there, staring at the ring, the weight of his words crushing me. He forgave me, but it didn't matter. I'd lost him for good, and not just to Sophia. To my own stupidity, my jealousy, my refusal to see the truth. I'd thought I was protecting myself, but all I'd done was push away the one person who'd loved me for me. Seeing him happy with Sophia, knowing she'd trusted him when I hadn't, was the final twist of the knife. He deserved her. He deserved better than me. I left Seattle a month later. I couldn't stay in that house, that city, surrounded by ghosts of what I'd had. I took a job in Denver, organizing events for a smaller firm, a fresh start where nobody knew my story. Packing up was like burying a part of myself, the photos, the sketches Ethan had drawn, the life we'd built. I didn't cry, though. I was done with tears. I just boxed it all up and moved on, carrying the regret like a stone in my chest. Now, sitting in my new apartment, 1,000 miles from Seattle, I think about what I've learned. Life taught me a lesson, and I paid for it with everything I loved. Trust isn't just a word, it's a choice, one I failed to make. I let doubt and pride blind me, let Chloe's lies turn me into someone I didn't recognize. I had it all, a husband who adored me, a home, a future, and I threw it away because I was too stubborn to listen. Don't be like me. Don't let suspicion kill what matters most, because once it's gone, no amount of apologies can bring it back. I'll carry this regret forever, a scar that won't fade. But I'm trying to live with it one day at a time, hoping I can be better than the woman who broke her own heart.